Doom the Dark Ages is everything I expected and more from id Software's latest entry. Being the third installment in the new trilogy and a prequel to the other games, The Dark Ages does a lot to separate itself and feel unique to the previous titles, while still maintaining the elements that make Doom, like the weapons, enemies, platforming, and the eternal aura farmer himself, the Slayer. By now you may have heard a lot of conflicting things about this game. You may have heard it's peak, or it's trash, or it's mid. Now, I'm here to dispel all the narratives and give you, yes you, my enlightened take on Doom's latest entry, now that the dust has settled with all these other reviews. This video will show spoilers, but let's be honest, you aren't playing Doom for the story. Combat. Just like with the other two games in the trilogy, The Dark Ages pushes you to play with extreme aggression and forces you to spend the vast majority of your time in game absolutely obliterating any demons that stand, or float, in your way. And it never gets old. I loved running around these enemy-dense fields charging headfirst like a territorial gorilla at everything I saw, and in the first few hours, I died often. But as I played more, my skills increased, and I began to die less and less, which reflected a very fun and challenging combat loop of constant offensive gameplay. Also, for context, I played on Nightmare difficulty, which I think is ideal for people who play FPS games consistently, because this game would probably be a walk in the park at the lower difficulties. Also, for even more context, I'm a big fan of both Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, and this was one of my most anticipated games of this year. Anyways, that's enough about me, let's get on with it. Meleeing was never a viable strategy in the other two games because of its extremely low damage, besides the blood punches in Eternal. But with this game, the developers completely flipped that on its head and added melee weapons into the mix, each with their own speed and levels of enemy devastation. They all have unique cooldowns and have to be restocked through pickups or abilities, but they are an absolutely essential part of your kit in the Dark Ages that I thoroughly enjoyed, especially this big ass mace. This is the best one in my opinion. I mean, just look at this. This new melee system allows for more depth in the hyper-aggressive playstyle, and can be used to shatter enemy armor, smash off some limbs, or even as a finisher that sends demon ragdolls flying away. Along with the melee system is the new, more central and advertised feature of this title, the Shield Saw. This new tool is a fundamental part of the Dark Ages combat, and I absolutely love what they've done with it. You can throw it at a group of fodder enemies and destroy them on impact, or chuck it at bigger enemies and leave it sawing them up while you blast them with your guns or beat the fuck out of them with blunt objects. You can also use it to close gaps and instantly launch yourself at enemies close to you or super far away. It has a ton of range. Think Captain America juiced up on horse electrolytes and Coca-Cola with a never-ending bloodlust for demons. Also, just listen to this impact sound. So satisfying. And of course you can use the shield to block and parry enemy attacks, which is a completely new mechanic to the series. Because you get health and ammo from kills, you will constantly be rushing towards enemies big and small with your shield, destroying them with your guns and melee attacks, while also parrying everything they throw at you until there's nothing left but chicken nuggets on the floor. In Eternal, you felt light as you flew around battle arenas quickly destroying enemies. In this game, however, you are much more of a tank, with the whole stand and fight narrative they were trying to achieve landing perfectly in the Dark Ages. Weapons. The weapons this time around are also a ton of fun to use. Many staples of the series are here with new coats of paint, both with the changes to the overall look of them, but also with the addition of skins for your guns that are unlocked through challenges. They all feel great here too, and every person who plays this game will have their own favorite weapon that they get the most mileage from. My personal favorites were, of course, the super shotgun and also the impaler, but each one is useful for their own situations, and I had a lot of fun experimenting with each and seeing which one was best for the situation I'm thrown into. Enemies. The usual Doom enemies are here, but with slight changes and new additions to keep the game feeling fresh. The imps, stalkers, hell knights, mancubuses, arachnotrons, these annoying whiplashes. There are a lot of different enemies to keep you moving and thinking in battle scenarios that I enjoyed a lot. I also loved seeing the unique spins this game puts on each enemy, and it adds a lot to differentiate this game from the others. All of these designs and enemy mechanics culminate in an incredibly satisfying and devastating combat loop that will keep you at the edge of your seat while you move around enemy-heavy arenas, precisely obliterating everything you see. The world. The battle arenas themselves are also of note. In fact, this will be a hot take, but I think the environments of the Dark Ages are probably my favorite of the new trilogy. As the name implies, it's very medieval inspired, so a lot of the maps are full of big open fields with castles, stone structures, greenery, and beautiful, although gory and demon-filled environments with a clear attention to detail. There are also these big titan battles straight out of an anime happening in the distance that I often found myself just staring at in between fights. Later levels in the game take you to a different, very green dimension that is extremely well done, and it has a distinct aesthetic that stands out from everything else we've seen in the series. Surprisingly, there are a lot of eerie and trippy locations that the Slayer is thrust through in the Dark Ages, and I even found myself facing my thalassophobia at certain points. Some of the puzzles in this second dimension, especially especially stood out, and I really loved finding each one and experiencing the trippy shenanigans of this world. I also want to mention that the world exploration feels much easier in this title, with the map now showing you almost everything to collect and exactly how to get there. It made exploration a lot more straightforward, which I actually appreciated, although I can see how it would dampen the mystery of finding secrets if that's what you were hoping for. Anyways, let's move on to the story. Switching from the world, I don't think Doom is ever really played for its captivating stories, and you won't find that notion being changed here. Now, you may have heard other reviewers say that this game's story is bad or really boring, and although I can understand that point of view, I honestly found it pretty serviceable and even enjoyable at certain points. The Dark Ages is all about the Doomslayer breaking free of control by the Makers and fighting alongside the Night Sentinels to stop the big bad Prince Azrak from finding a MacGuffin that would make him extremely powerful. This all culminates in some pretty solid boss fights that left me satisfied by the time credits rolled. I actually liked Azrak as the main villain, and I really liked where the story went in the final few chapters. It was refreshing to see the Doomslayer in this new light, and it kept me engaged through and through. Overall, I found the story to be decent to good, with some clear lows and highs throughout. It's certainly not Red Dead Redemption 2 levels of storytelling, but I think it serves its purpose well enough without overstaying its welcome. Although, a lot of the game does make you question what the fuck everyone else is doing while the Doomslayer is slaughtering all these demons. There's a whole army of Night Sentinels, meanwhile you as the player are doing all the work and rarely see them contributing to the war efforts. Bum-ass group. Before going on though, I want to address the music this time around. Doom fans know we took a major loss with the departure of Mick Gordon for this release, after some issues arose between the developers and him with Doom Eternal, and his composition is definitely missed in the Dark Ages. But I think the music is still serviceable in this game. It's not as powerful and in the spotlight as in the previous games, but I think it fits the themes of this title well and serves as good background music while you charge at the seemingly endless waves of hellspawn here. It's not bad, not amazing, but it's good in my opinion. Let's move on though. As you've likely heard, the Dark Ages has added 2 new combat sections into this game that have left the community talking. This would be the new dragon sections, as well as the mech fights. Now, contrary to popular belief, I actually didn't mind these sections, and actually had fun with both of them. I think they work best in short bursts, and the main Doom combat far outshines both, but I like the variation they added to the 22 missions. The dragon sections are simple, but have large open environments that you can fly around and shoot at enemies. The mech fights are straight out of Pacific Rim and were even more simple than the dragon mechanics, but honestly, a tad more fun to mess around with. I don't think either deserve the hate they've received, as I respect the attempt to try something new without constantly forcing players to engage with them, and they take up such a small percentage of the story that I was never really itching to get on with it, besides a small bug where I couldn't progress while on the dragon. Regardless, I liked both, but I can see others just wanting to get back to the main game's combat because it's just that fun. In my opinion though, neither detract from the game's overall package. I think they actually enhance it. As a fan of the previous games, I had a blast playing through the Dark Ages and think you would too. I recommend it to fans of the series, as well as those who have never played any of them. It's a good starting point as a prequel, and I think anyone who plays video games can enjoy it. That's just me though, but if you've already played the Dark Ages, what did you think about it? I read all my comments, and I would love to hear your thoughts, good or bad. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video all the way through, and I hope to see you again soon. I'd really love to hit 1,000 subs soon, and would appreciate it if you help me reach that goal. Anyways though, that's enough yapping for me. Enjoy your day and or evening, and bye for now.